everyone, this is Melissa, and I'm the Talkative Introvert. In today's episode, I have another guest on today, so I'll try to keep this intro a little short, but I do have a little PSA, if you will. If you live in America, then you know it's voting season, so please don't forget to register and to vote this year. A lot of people keep saying voting is important more than ever this year, but honestly, I hate that statement because voting is always important. As an American, please exercise that right. We are very fortunate to have that right. A coworker actually shared this saying that is taught to children in the Middle East, and that is a closed mouth lives a longer life. And that really shocked me because what that meant is that people who talk against the government there, tend to not live a longer life. I won't get into detail about that. I'm sure you can read between the lines. And that just really shocked me because I grew up in America and I knew my right to vote. I knew that I had a place and a voice to talk about, politics and to make a decision on what our government can or cannot do. And people don't get to practice that right in other countries, right? And so I think it's so important to remember how fortunate we are to have a say in our government here and how important it is to exercise that right, because not a lot of people take full advantage of that. So I will add in the description links on how to register to vote. I believe some states you can still register. I believe here in California you can still register to vote. And then I'll also link where to get information about what will be in your ballot, because voting is more than just voting for the president. And voting happens more than just every 4 years. There are still local elections, and then the ballot this year will include, depending on your area, will include new props, and appointing new staff, such as the chief of police, mayor, senators, what have you. And so please take a look at ballotpedia.org. So please check that out to see what will be in your local ballot. And all right. So I just want to have that little PSA. I'll probably do a little voting PSA until the election starts, just because if I do have any American listeners who are new to politics and new to voting, I hope that I can still reach out to you and hopefully encourage you to go out there and vote. All right, guys, let's get into the episode. Joining me today is my sister-in-law, Leah Guillama. If you haven't heard her episode, she was in one previously. It's episode 15, where she talks about her move across the country from California to Virginia, so go check that out. But today, we're going to be talking about our Myers Briggs personality test results. So, hi, Leah.
Hey, I'm back.
I'm so excited to do this one. And then also Leah is also AKA, or also known as Louie, because I don't really call her Leah, but I don't know how many times I'm going to call you Louie throughout the episode. But just in case, because they're like, who the hell's Louie?
I know. So many nicknames.
Yeah. So I posted this on my Instagram page that I took the 16 personalities quiz, which is basically the free version of the actual Myers-Briggs test. Because the real Myers-Briggs test, I think, is more like comprehensive and it costs money. So the 16 personalities one is free, and I'm hopefully it's just as accurate as the real one. But yeah. So my result, I got the INTJ-A.
I got INTJ-T.
So we basically got the same thing, but just slightly different. So I had to figure out what the difference was. And so I wanted to kind of just briefly read through it. The 16 Personalities website, I'll link it in the description, but it's basically, I did a little summary, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But basically, so that's considered an assertive architect, whereas a T is a turbulent architect. And based on the summary, so Louie, you are often fueled by your worries and concerns.
Sounds bad, right?
And then whereas, so for assertive architects, they're a little more confident and more reassured in their choices, I guess. But they're both ambitious, but their motivations are different. Assertive architects are more motivated from within, and their inspiration to act is based on confidence in their rationality. Turbulent architects are moved forward in life to a greater degree by their concerns, worries, and how others might see them. So I feel like, I don't know if this is wrong or right, but I feel like I think more about things, or I'm more of a rational, logical, like don't really put people's feelings into consideration kind of choice maker, whereas you are more in tune with like the people around you and all that. Do you think that's accurate?
I think it's super accurate. As much as I don't want to be that way, and I've tried to convince myself, like, for years, like, oh, you don't actually care what people think about you, blah, blah, you shouldn't care. I do care a lot, most of the time. There are some times where, like, I can get myself in that mindset, but I think probably, like, 80-90% of the time I do care what people think. Maybe even more than that.
Yeah. I know I was reading through this whole thing, like the actual article, not just the summary. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I know. It's almost scary how accurate it is.
Yeah, I know. Like I want everyone to take it. I don't know. Like every new person, I want to ask them what their Myers Briggs personality is. Because like I was reading mine and like it's true because sometimes people view me as kind of heartless or soulless.
Yeah.
That sounds bad. It sounds really bad.
I know.
But like I have good intentions. It's just that I prefer the rationality of things rather than people's emotions.
And I feel like I still get that too, even though I'm not quite as much like that as you are. But I'll still get that all the time. I'm like, no, I'm not that cold-hearted. I'm just trying to be rational and logical.
Yeah. Because it's not really being cold-hearted. It just seems that we're being cold-hearted, but it's for like my thought process is supposed to benefit everyone, you know? Like in the long, like, I don't know, harsh love, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
That's one of the biggest things that I remember watching a video about like INTJs, and they were talking about that. And I was like, wow, I never realized that like there are other people who think that way.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I don't know. It was just so weird. It was like I was talking to someone who was in my brain.
Yeah. It freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah. Because obviously, so one thing we should mention is for females, the INTJ personality trait is the rarest. It's tied, I actually have like a little chart right here. It's tied with the ENTJs. So only 0.9% of the female population test as INTJ or ENTJ.
Which is crazy that we even know each other.
Yeah.
And we just so happen to know each other. And it's crazy because like I don't know, growing up I felt really different and like I don't know, like I don't I'm different from my family, like really different from my family. And it was really weird to like meet you because I'm like, why are we so similar?
Yeah.
And
that's how I felt. Even with Brandon, it was a little bit better because we're not the same personality type, but I feel like we just have a lot of the same tendencies. But we didn't like get along until I was in high school. So like as a kid, I felt like no one was like me.
Yeah.
I never met anyone that was like me. And I always thought that I was just like super weird, and I'm always trying to be like other people because I was so weird and so different. It was like a bad thing to be that weird and different.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that. I was saying like I feel like I fully embraced my INTJ-ness like when I got older, because when I was little just trying to conform to what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, and people will like tell you like, oh, why aren't you do things like that person? Why aren't you like that person? Or like I would get that a lot as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
especially in our family. It sounds really bad, but being like kind of the black sheep of the family, sometimes people would be like, oh, why aren't you like so and so? Like, why don't you do things like them? Why don't you like that? Why don't you like doing this? I'm like, because I just don't.
Yeah, and you hear it. They'll talk about it.
Yeah.
You hear family members talk about it. They're blunt.
Bluntness.
Yeah. She's so blunt.
Which is it's a good thing in some sense.
Yeah. Oh, I want to read this bullet point because it like made me kind of laugh. But so this one says, while neither personality type is likely to be very comfortable with their emotions, turbulent architects are more likely to express theirs and use them to connect with others by being more approachable. And I remember from the last episode how people love to talk to you.
That's exactly what I thought of just now.
And I was like, no one ever wants to talk to me. I am not approachable.
Yeah, it's so weird because we have this same, well, now we know that we have the same personality type, but we've always known that we were very, very, very similar. But then there are things like that make us complete opposites almost.
Yeah.
And it's really just that little difference in that last category.
I know. I feel like you're just more in tune with your emotions. And I'm not. Like a good example is, I don't know if you remember this, but remember when you used to work at that salon here in California, and I got my hair done for graduation, and it was like finally done, and I really, really loved it, but I didn't express that. And then your boss like asked you the next day, like, does she like it?
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, oh man, because I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to like be expressive in like, because in my head I'm like, yeah, this is really, really beautiful. But externally, all I said was like, it's nice, thank you, or something like that.
Yeah, I do notice that sometimes with you. But it's funny though, because I still feel that way. Like when I compare myself to, especially like extroverts, and when I compare myself to other people, I feel the same way as you. Like I feel like I'm not in tune with my emotions. I don't always know how to express them. Especially negative emotion. Like I cannot be around someone. I don't like being sad around people, or I will never get angry really in public. Almost never. It's very rare for me to be like visibly angry. There's only one time that I can think of that I actually like really screamed and yelled at Fabian, and I shocked myself. And I've never done it since then. And I scared myself, I think, more than I scared him.
I can never do that.
Yeah, I did it one time. And it was the weirdest, strangest feeling ever. And I don't ever want to feel that again.
Yeah. I can't deal with intense emotions.
Yeah. It's more of like, I don't even know. One thing I did read or hear about in a video, I can't remember, is that like, I don't know if this is true for you, but when you experience like a really intense emotion, especially anger or sadness or something, you just kind of like go catatonic. Okay. And I feel like that happens to me, where Fabian's actually complained about it before, but like, I don't know. It's almost like I don't know how to process these emotions. So I just kind of like shut off until I can figure it out.
But yeah, that makes sense because like, not to like make this dark or anything, but when my dad died, I, like after like we found him and whatever, and they took his body and blah, blah, blah. So like when I came home, I literally just like went to bed in the dark and just laid there like in complete silence, and like Brandon was in the living room, I think, and I was just like complete silence, complete darkness, and I just like laid there.
Yeah, I've definitely had those moments too.
because it's like completely different, and hopefully John doesn't get mad at me, but when like this is kind of shows like the different personalities, because John, I don't even need to know his Myers-Briggs to know he's the complete opposite of me.
Yeah.
And but his reaction was extremely like like very emotional and very like I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say theatrical because that sounds wrong, but like but you know
You're
what I
just
mean?
not
It's very
afraid to express it.
expressive. Yeah. Very expressive, but I wasn't like that. I was like the complete opposite. I was just alone for myself in the dark for like a few hours until I guess I was trying to process it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how I am too, especially around people. I'll almost never express it. I rarely even cry in front of people. I mean, sometimes it's just hard not to, but I try my hardest to hold it all in. But then usually when I'm alone, like that's when it kind of all comes out. And I'll sometimes let it come out, but I try really, really hard not to.
Yeah. Same. Like I think Brandon's probably the only one I don't know if I've fully let everything out. Probably, yeah, with Brandon. I mean, it's been 13 years. I'm sure I did a few times, but for the most part, I don't like show that around people, especially family. I don't know why. Something about being vulnerable, I guess. I don't know.
It's so weird.
But yeah, that bullet point, like especially the part that says very like, what is it? Neither personality type is likely to be very comfortable with their emotions. I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. That's so true. Like, it's crazy. Like my inability to express excitement has made a lot of people like I don't know, wonder about me if I'm like a robot. Like I remember that time. So remember when you visited Fabian in Virginia? So you didn't live there yet. We were still roommates, and you came home with like, I think you bought everyone shot glasses, and we opened it like in front of him, like via video chat. And then it came to my turn, and you said, I think you like warned him, and you said like, just know that Mia will probably like it, but she won't show it.
Yeah.
And then like when I opened it, I said, oh, it's cool. And then you both just started laughing. Because like I did like it. We still have it. It's still in our cupboard. But I just
oh my God. That sounds about right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, awful. I do like to warn people because I know that affects people a lot when you don't show emotion. But I understand it because I know how you are, and I to a certain level I like can be that way too, so I understand how uncomfortable it is. Yeah. I feel like sometimes I will like, not that I'm faking the emotion, it's just I will purposely make the emotion bigger than I really would normally.
Yeah, you like intensify it.
Yeah, I do. I like intensify it just to make sure that the other person knows. I'm going to make Fabian take one of them next time. Because that's what he did last time.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay. Did. So we were talking about intensifying your emotions.
Yeah. That sounds so bad, but it's just like I actually do feel that emotion. I'm just intensifying it so the other person knows that I am happy, basically.
Yeah. No, I get that because that's what made me I went down this rabbit hole, but it made me think that I was a psychopath. But like I don't think a it sounds stupid, but because there was this interview that someone was having with a sociopath, but there's like a slight difference, but not a slight difference, there's a difference. And so I thought I was a psychopath because one of the traits of one is that they mimic the emotions of somebody else just because they don't necessarily feel that. Like they don't feel empathy. I mean, I feel empathy, but there are a lot of times where I just mimic the emotion because that's not the same emotion I'm getting, but I know that's like the normal emotion that you're supposed to be feeling.
Yeah,
right?
I feel like we've had conversations about this before because I felt the same way. Like I got a little
Yeah.
scared at some point too because I was like, is this normal? Like, am I supposed to be this like unemotional or whatever? And
Mm-hmm.
that's funny because I was looking up like INTJ stereotypes, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them is that we're like sociopaths or psychopaths.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, I don't want to be like, I don't want to be titled that. And
Yeah.
that freaked me out because of like the association of psychopaths and sociopaths, and people, you know, associate them with murderers. And we
Uh-huh.
just finished watching Dexter. And,
And a
and I
lot of
was,
villains are INTJs, apparently.
yeah. And I don't know, that scared me. Just, I think mainly because we just finished watching Dexter, and because, so his relationship with Rita, and
Uh-huh.
like, I feel like I'm Dexter and then Brandon's Rita, because Brandon's more in tune with his emotions.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I was like, man, I really hope I'm not, but I feel like I would know. I would know if I am,
Yeah.
for sure.
I think you're okay because you would never hurt a fly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
But
one thing
again,
that what?
no, that, so the interview with the sociopath, the guy was saying, because there's that stereotype that murderers are sociopaths or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy asked him, like, what do you feel about that misconception? And then the guy said that, well, there's no logical reason for me to kill someone, therefore I wouldn't. And I was thinking, well, yeah, that makes sense. So I was like, well, I still can't be, because it doesn't mean I want to kill someone. It's just there's no beneficial,
Yeah.
you know, there's no benefit to it. So
Yeah. Everything's surrounded by logic,
yeah,
basically.
exactly. But I don't think I am one. So
Yeah. I had this conversation with Erica's dad when he came to visit. We were all just like, we're out to dinner, just talking and stuff. And I don't know how this came up. Probably because we were talking about like what I want to do. So, you know, but like just so everyone knows, I
mhm.
want to be a forensic pathologist assistant. So I want to do autopsies and stuff like that. So basically, I just want to work with dead people. And I remember telling him, I feel like I've told a couple people this, but I feel like in another life, like if I didn't have a conscience,
Mhm.
I would probably make a really good serial killer.
That's a
And
good point.
we had this conversation. I think it's funny. I think other people that I tell don't really think it's funny. And then he walks into our house, and you've never been here before, but in our living room, which I did not realize this until he said something. But he walks into our house and he looks around and he's like, I could see how she could be a serial killer.
Really?
Because I have a lot of skulls everywhere,
Oh.
which I did not realize. Like, I don't feel like I have a lot of skulls everywhere.
Uh-huh.
I have an obsession with bones. I really like bones. And that's what made me want to get into like the autopsy business, basically. But because we have a big tapestry with like two skeletons dancing on it, like
Mhm.
this huge tapestry covers the whole wall. I have this skull that I just use as a decoration on the TV stand. There's like another pair of skeletons on the record player. Um, there's just like a bunch of other they're little things. So I feel like you don't really notice them, but he did. But I thought that was just so funny because I've always kind of felt like I was always scared that I might be a sociopath or a psychopath. But then I remind myself like, oh, you can't actually like hurt anything. Like I
Yeah.
could
You still have
never
a conscience.
yeah, I could never hurt an animal especially.
Mhm.
And the reason why I want to work with dead people is because I'm too scared to be like a nurse or anything that works with live people because what if I make a mistake and I accidentally kill someone? So
Yeah. I know I didn't have this conversation with anybody. I had this conversation in my head to myself. But
I have a
because
lot of those.
but like along the same lines as you, like I think and just gonna sound really bad, but I would never do it because I have a conscience and I have ethics. But I think scientists who do human experiments are fascinating.
Oh, I do too.
Extremely fascinating. Like if I wasn't so lazy and didn't really care for school, I would probably go to school for neuro. Like I love the human brain, and I love that you can like tweak something and completely change a person.
Oh, I know. It's so interesting.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, like how like just a little, like you just cut like a little tiny bit of a brain and you can go from like speaking eloquently to just like singing or like or being like a super calm person to like an angry person. Or like it's crazy. That's why like human experiments are just so fascinating.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can alter about the human body.
It's definitely so interesting. It's just because I feel like we have a pretty good way of disconnecting like the human aspect with the actual physical like body. Like it's like it's a body. It's not really the person.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. That probably doesn't make sense to a lot of people. It probably sounds really scary. But I swear I'm not a scary person.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut people open just willy-nilly.
No, definitely not. Like I could never, like you said, like I can't even kill an animal. Like what is it? Like some of your family members, like your Reno family, they go hunting, and I was like, I could never do that.
I could not. No, I can't even kill a spider.
Yeah.
I don't even kill spiders. Like the only thing that I'm okay with killing are mosquitoes, and then occasionally cockroaches. I'm just terrified of cockroaches, so I don't want to get close enough to have to kill it.
Yeah, exactly.
But those are the only two things where I'm like, yes, you can die because I hate you. But other than that, like I'll put spiders in a cup and take them outside. Like I can't kill anything. I just feel so bad.
I can't even hurt a person. Like have I never? No, that's not true. But like in my adult life, I have never like hurt someone like physically. I've never like punched someone or anything like that.
Anger.
Yeah. Like I don't think I could, I'd rather just talk it out.
Yeah.
Like,
and we don't have like, I feel like we just don't have strong enough emotions to do that anyway.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's true. That's probably why.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing though.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would never be murderers. It's just, fascinating things that we think about in our heads.
Yes. So it's just a stereotype. We're not sociopaths or psychopaths or robotic or emotionless.
I like to say Vulcan,
Yeah. We just don't know how to express it as well as people would like us to.
But internally, I'm squealing with joy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, I know.
I had trouble. I think I mentioned this too in our group chat. Not trouble, but like, I guess I have a monotone voice, which you can't tell on the podcast. Because Louis mentioned to me that I use my customer service voice on the podcast, but I think that's just because I know people are listening. Yeah. So I kind of put emotion into it.
I feel like it also kind of changes whether you have a guest or not.
Yeah.
A little bit. I'll have to go back and like really listen to it, but I feel like when it's just you have a little bit more of that customer service voice. But then when you're with other people, you're a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Like just now I said, and I notice when I do listen to people, when I talk to people, people probably won't notice this, like listeners won't notice this, but I do delete some of the that I do because it sounds like I'm bored. Or like,
really?
Yeah, like it sounds like I'm uninterested, but it's really just me like confirming that I heard you, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But when I was listening back on it, I was like, man, I sound like I'm bored of this person, but I'm not. I'm like super interested in what they're saying. So
I
I
have to,
deleted some of them
yeah,
out.
I have to watch myself like that sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
Even like Fabian will, like, there are a lot of times where he thinks I'm like angry or something, or I don't
Yeah.
know, I'm just like blah, but I'm really not. I'm like completely and totally fine, but sometimes I just don't sound that way.
Yeah. Like
And I
I
think it's
get,
mostly because I'm so comfortable with him that I don't need to animate my emotions
yeah,
around him.
exactly. Like I get a lot of, are you okay? Do you get that a
Yeah.
lot?
Oh my God, how many times have you heard my mom ask me if I'm okay?
Yeah.
Or
Like,
she's always like, why the long face?
yeah. And I'm just like, I'm fine.
I
like,
hear that all the time. Why the long face?
like I hate, sometimes Brandon does this, but I hate when he says, are you mad? And then I have to explain to him, I'm mad now because you asked
Because
me
you,
if I'm mad.
oh, I literally just had this happen the other day, I feel like. I'm like, I'm okay, now I'm really annoyed because you keep asking me.
Yeah. Because I wasn't mad prior to this question.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
funny.
I'm crying. It's so funny. So funny. Oh my god. We haven't even gotten to what the main thing I was gonna get through.
Oh my God. Okay, moving on.
So originally this episode I found this article that's like titled, what is it titled? Um is there no title to this? Oh, here. 13 spot-on traits of an INTJ personality type. So what I Googled is, how do you spot an INTJ? And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to like kind of go down the list and like wanted to see if this was accurate or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is, you were a bookworm as a kid, which I think is true for you.
Yeah, like it is, but isn't. I distinctly remember um when I was really, really young, like just starting school, or maybe I was like had to have been like first or second grade or something. I remember always having a bunch of books because I was so fascinated by books, but then I always felt like I didn't want to waste my time reading
Yeah.
because I felt like it just took too long. So I always had these books and I was always constantly like organizing them on the shelves and stuff, like constantly. And I remember Casey's mom coming up to me one day and she was like, "Oh, you must really love to read books, huh?" And I was just like, "Mm-hmm." And like I would get that all the time. People always thought that I loved to read, but in reality, I really didn't like to read that much. I had a fascination for books, but it was more of like it was more of like I liked the way they looked and I liked organizing them on shelves. It's so weird, but it wasn't until I think middle school that I actually really started reading a lot. And I think throughout like it was when the Twilight series came out.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's what made me
really
think of that.
yeah, that's really what like catapulted me into becoming more of like a bookworm, I guess you'd say. Because after that, for the next like couple of years, I read constantly. I would read books all the time. But ever since then, I haven't really. So I guess that kind of works in some sense, but
Yeah.
I don't really ever consider myself an actual bookworm. It's like I want to read all these books, but I just never actually do it.
Yeah.
Or I get through I'm in the middle of, no joke, like 5 books right now that I get halfway through and then I don't finish them.
Yeah. Well, the thought process, I guess, behind this statement is that INTJs have a thirst for knowledge. So
Yeah.
the bookworm part is more like wanting to learn something, which that I get because when I did the Myers Briggs test, and
Hmm.
I you know how like 16 personalities has all the different articles.
Yeah.
So like the moment I did the quiz and I got my results and I saw that they had different articles, I literally read every single article, and it was like 2 in the morning.
That's how I was. And I think one thing I read was that we get really like kind of obsessive
Mm-hmm.
over things. And I think that's one of the things about me is that I'll get really obsessive over something for, it'll be like a short amount of time, whether that's like a few hours or like maybe a few weeks or even like a few months. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
really immersed in one thing, and I'll really like I'll constantly be thinking about it. Or if it's like a project, I'll constantly be working on it. And I always feel like I have to do it all at once. But then like once I feel like I've gotten enough of it or something, I just move on to the next thing because I want to learn something new.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel the same way. I mean, I don't have any examples right now I could think of, but like
Yeah.
I've done that too.
Yeah. And I think that it's like I remember you texted me, this was recently, like a couple months ago. You said something like, good thing you have a ton of hobbies.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why. It's because I keep wanting to learn all these things, and then I don't have time for them all. But then I'll like do them for a while because I'll get super obsessive over it. And then I'll stop and do the next thing.
I know. That's why like this podcast, I feel like it's gonna keep going just because like
Hmm.
even though it's a podcast, like there's so many different things I could learn about or, and do
Yeah.
topics about. But that's very true with my other projects because I have a lot of hobbies too. Like did
Hmm.
calligraphy and I do crafts and I do like I tried to pick up watercolor painting and I just
Yeah.
had a
I did
bunch of
that at some
hobbies.
point too. It's funny because I tried to do watercolor painting and I tried to do calligraphy also.
Yeah. It's just, it's like fascinating how much the human can do, and like the creativity part of your brain as well.
Yeah.
Like I really, yeah. Too many hobbies. But yeah, so the bookworm thing is just more like thirst for knowledge, which is true. Like that's the thing I loved about college. What I didn't like about college was like doing the work, but I liked learning about stuff.
Yeah. I did. I remember actually I did when I wanted to be an astronomer. I was constantly getting books from the library. I totally forgot about that. So I was reading a lot of like books on space and stuff. So
Hmm.
I guess I could be considered a bookworm. Maybe I'm just not so much now as an adult because I just really don't have the time for it. But
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
I'm constantly like reading things on the internet. Like this morning, I was trying to get ready for work, but I got distracted about this or with this article on sunspots. I'm like sitting there on my bed. I have like 10 minutes before I have to leave, and I'm reading about sunspots, and I still need to get dressed and whatnot.
That's funny because this morning I was reading about the benefits of running barefoot.
Oh my God, such random things.
Well, I just like saw it and then I was like, oh, because I've heard that before, but I
Yeah.
never really looked into it. And so I found the article and it talked about, and I just like, I just sat in my bed, just reading those articles. And I was like, man, what a good insight. Too bad I don't run. So,
No. That's so funny.
okay. So the next one is that we're cynical people.
Yes. 100%. Maybe, okay, I think it comes off as cynical, but I think we're just being realistic.
Yeah. Well, so it says you pretty much doubt everyone else but yourself. And that's kind of true, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like I don't know. This makes me sound really bad, but like not
Uh-huh.
not like when it comes to certain things, like in my head I'm thinking I know I could do this better, but I need to let you do it.
Oh my God, that's the hardest thing about training
Yeah.
people. because it's weird because I love training. Like I'm the like only person really that trains people, or I should be really the only person that trains people at work and stuff. And it gets so hard sometimes because I'm just so used to being able to do things a certain way, and I want them done a certain way. And I know it'll just be easier and quicker if I just do them. But I'm like, I have to let you do it because you have to learn how to do it. I have to be able to trust you when you're on your own. Because oh my God, that scares me so much. The first day a new trainee is by themselves, it freaks me out. But I'm like, they have to do it. Like, they're more capable than I think usually. Pretty much most of the time. I'm just like that overanalyzer, overthinker, like just so nervous. And I just want to do things myself because I know it'll be done a certain way. Not that it'll be done like better. It's more of like I want it done a certain way.
Yeah. Because usually like our way is a more efficient, streamlined way.
Yeah.
And like that's very true with driving. Oh my God.
I know you complain about Brandon all the time.
Because Brandon's very like go with the flow, like he likes the scenic route, you know, and that's great and all. But for me, the way my brain works, like regardless of whether I have a deadline to meet or like whatever, I'm always thinking like what is the best and most efficient way to get from point A to point B. And like it's this is going to make me sound weird, but like after work, when I used to be at work, I actually do check my Google Maps every day after work to see the traffic, just to see what's the most efficient way to get somewhere. And then when I moved to this new job, I also mapped out, so I know like 3 or 5 different ways how to get home or something like that. I think it's like 4 different ways to get home. So I know that if there's jeez. So like when it rains in Sacramento, I know not to use I-5, you know, and like certain things like that. Like it's like, okay, it's raining, I'm going to use Garden Highway. And then if it's like, and then I know exactly like if it's past like, I think 6:30, then I can use the freeway or something like that. Like, and then like in the morning, I know I have to leave by 7:15 to get on the freeway before traffic. But once I reach 7:16, it's too late. I got to use the other route.
Oh, that's so funny. I kind of do that too because I have like 2 routes going home from work. I mean, now I work at 2 locations, but when I was just working at one, I did have 2 routes, and I would like decide each day, like, okay, which one's going to be faster? What's going on? Like, if the train is coming, I'm going to take this way because, oh my God, that is a nightmare. Yeah. I think you've seen some of my stories or Snapchats
sitting
on the
there.
Stupid train. I hate trains. I absolutely hate them. I despise them now living
They're
here.
just so long.
They're so long, and then sometimes they go back and forth, and you're like, wait, when is it going to end? Make up your mind. Why are you going 2 different directions? I don't understand. And the same thing with like the rain, because it floods so much here. I know where it's going to flood and where I need to avoid because I don't want to take that extra time to like turn around and whatnot.
I know. So, I feel bad being in a car with someone sometimes, or like like I very much refrain myself from telling people my thoughts because I don't want to seem like a know-it-all.
Yeah.
You know, like and like I don't want to seem pompous or whatever.
Yeah.
But like there's this one like I love being reassured that I'm right though.
Yeah.
Like there's this one time, so me and Michael, we used to work at the same building, right? And so we had a meeting downtown, and so we had to go from West Sac to downtown. And when we both left at the same time, and he asked me which way I was going. I was like, oh, I'm going to use this route. And then he's like, oh, you are? And I was like, yep. And then he said, okay, well, I was going to use this other route. And I was like, okay. And then in my head, I was like, I'm going to get there way earlier than you, but good luck. And then I got there 15 minutes earlier. Oh, and in my head, I wanted to say, I told you so bad.
Oh my God, I know. It's one of my many toxic traits is that I really, really want to tell people I told you so. Like I really love being proved right.
Oh, I love it. But
that's such a I've seen that so many articles and videos I've seen that's like a trait of INTJs is that
you like being right.
You just really love being right. And it's not that we're it's not
we have to be right or
yeah, it's we're still open-minded. Mm-hmm. I think that it talks about that too in the 16 personalities article. Mm-hmm.
We're willing to change if it's more effective.
Yes, if it's logical, makes more sense, then yes, you can change my mind. But if I think that this certain specific way is more logical and more efficient, then you cannot change my mind.
Yeah. And a lot of times they're validated, we don't just think something's more efficient. We know it is because it's, we've confirmed it. So.
Oh, that's the worst when people try to fight you on that. And I'm like, no,
I know.
I know it.
I know. Because I tell, I don't know. I'm going to repeatedly say this sounds bad, but it's not. Yeah. But I always tell Brandon, life is so much easier if you just listen to me.
Oh my God.
Because it's true.
Fabian, I feel so bad sometimes because Fabian will be he'll ask me a question oh, do you want me to do this? And then I'll be like, no, it's all right. It's fine. You don't need to do that. And then he'll go and do it anyway. And I'm like, why did you do it? I told you didn't have to do it. And he'll be like, I just know it'll be better for both of us if I just do it. And I'm like, oh, that makes me sound terrible, but thank you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is you don't like rules or tradition. And for me, this is so true because I come from a very religious and traditional Filipino family, and I don't agree with a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a couple things I think about this because I feel we can be, I don't know about you really, but I know for me, a lot of people think I'm a rule follower and I have to follow every rule. Mm-hmm. But, and I did find, or I read about this somewhere else too, that other people are this is an INTJ thing is that we do love rules, but we're also not afraid to break rules if we think that the rule doesn't have a purpose.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always felt about rules. And people are always like, oh, you're such a rule follower. You're a goody two-shoes. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I kind of am. But there are some times where if a rule does not make any sense to me, then I won't care about it.
Yeah.
I won't.
I hate there's a lot of things I won't get into religion, but there are a lot of stuff where the explanation is, well, you just do it that way.
Oh,
that's just how it is.
That is my biggest pet peeve. I hate that. I hate being told it's just because that's the way it is. I hate that.
Yeah. So in the Philippines, divorce isn't a thing. You can't actually get divorced there. So my cousin, when she moved to America, she legally divorced her husband and married a new guy, but then they retired and moved back to the Philippines. So in the Philippines, they don't recognize the divorce. So technically in the Philippines, she's still married to her ex-husband and then just living with her new husband. He's just a roommate or whatever. But it's still they worked it out. The husband transferred their property over to the new guys, and it was very mutual, so it worked out for them. But
in other cases it's not always going to work out.
Yeah, exactly. And then the reason is because you don't you just don't, because it's against, I think it's because Catholicism is really big in the Philippines.
Yeah,
and you just don't.
I figured I always like I feel like anytime it's something like that, it probably has to do with like religion or something.
Mm-hmm. And it's just weird. Like I can't conform to certain things. Like
Hmm.
I just don't understand why we can't do a certain thing just
Yeah,
because I don't know, someone a long time ago said we couldn't. Or,
yeah,
you know,
that's weird.
like unless there's some rationality behind it, like I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it.
And yeah, that's why like at work and I guess just life in general, I do question things a lot because I
Hmm.
want to know. Like sometimes it sounds like I'm being rude, but
Hmm.
I legitimately just want to know like the thought process behind it and why I
Hmm.
should do it that way. And if it makes sense, then yeah, I'll follow the rules.
Oh yeah, that's I not that I get into it with people sometimes, but like I know a lot of people are very annoyed by me sometimes because I am always asking why. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have to know. I'm always asking like why? Why is it this way? Why do we have to do it that way? I just need to know why, even if it's like the simplest like stupidest reason and I don't really need to know, like I have to know
Yeah.
like every little detail.
Yeah.
Especially when if we make plans to go somewhere or do something or whatever, like I just even for something like that, I'm like, why? Why are we going there? Why'd you order that? Like I'm always asking why, even though I probably don't need to.
Yeah.
But for me, I just like need to know.
I think I think I annoyed Joanne once because the same thing. Like I think it was like at your bachelorette and we were playing some type of game and I asked her, what game is it? What do you do? And like I kept asking her
I remember
question
this.
and she's like, it's a game. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, my bad. I
Oh,
was like, I just want to know if it's a type of game I want to play.
yeah.
And it ended up not being. So, worked out for me.
Probably has to do with the fact that we just constantly need to be prepared for everything.
Yeah, which leads to the next one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it says you're always a step ahead, and it talks about basically you're always ahead of the game because you have to always maintain control, which makes us like planners, basically, which is completely true.
Oh my God. I know. Everyone knows me as like this like super planner, super organized. Like I have to write out every second of my day.
Hmm.
I have to have a plan for everything.
Yeah, and then for the longest time, I don't know if you still do this, but like I used
Uh,
to have the physical planner.
oh yeah. I buy one every single year. I buy them customized, Mia. I pay like $60 for my planners.
Oh yeah, me too. I've had different kinds too because I've tried out different kinds. Like I've had the Erin Condren, I've had the
Uh-huh.
Inkwell, the Emily Lee, like the simplified
Hmm.
one. I've had like just your basic Target one. That one sucked.
Hmm.
Um, what else have I had?
I
So
actually kind of
now,
like the Target, like the blue sky Target ones.
well, the one I had was too small,
Oh,
and then
oh yeah, I've
like,
gone through so many different sizes trying to figure out which one I like best.
mm-hmm. Because it's like the small ones, what I ended up doing is just putting a bunch of post-it notes in it because there wasn't enough room for everything.
I
So
know.
it sucked.
Yeah,
I burnt that one.
I did the full size one last year, and then I decided to get one that wasn't like the mini planner, but it was like halfway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a weird in between size, maybe like a notebook size, I guess.
Like an
And
A5.
yeah, I think that's what it is. And it's just like it's too small now. I can't fit everything I need to fit in there.
Mm-hmm. And I wish I kept my college planner because man, that thing was thick because I had so much like post-it notes on it. But
Oh
I
my.
was just that year was just so hard. I wanted to forget about it, so I burned it.
Oh my God. I've
But
kept every single one of my planners, every single one.
Yeah, I have all of mine now, but I was like, man, this is getting too expensive. So I switched everything to electronic, and I have so I use my Google Calendar, and I
Oh,
even and I put everything on my Google Calendar.
I'm
Like
not ready for
even
that yet.
I even put and it's all color coded, and I even put when
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to visit my mom. Cause okay, I don't know if you're gonna resonate with this,
Mm-hmm.
but the reason why I document everything on my Google Calendar, like where I'm at, I even put the location and stuff like that, is because if I was ever in a situation,
Where you disappeared?
no, where
No.
someone tried to frame me for murder, I
You
will
have an
have an
alibi.
alibi.
I think about that too.
Because I'll be like, oh, September 15th? Here, let me check my calendar.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is where I was.
I think about that, or if I, for some reason, got kidnapped or something,
Mm-hmm.
then someone could look at my planner and know exactly where I was at a specific time.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
Oh, we're so weird.
You gotta think ahead, That's why we're always ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And that controlling part too of it,
Mm-hmm.
as much as I don't want that to be me, I've realized recently, even before I did the Myers Briggs test,
Mm-hmm.
I've begun to realize that I am a bit controlling
Oh,
because
yeah.
we've had situations where um I'll have my day completely planned out, or Fabian and I will make plans for a day or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then one slight difference will make me just go insane. I will freak out. And I've had it happen a couple of times, and I'm like, why is this affecting me so much? It'll be something like, oh, instead of going to dinner at 6 o'clock, we have to go at 6:30. And it would
Yeah.
be something minuscule like that, and I'll just freak out.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes I'll just shut down.
yeah, and then I'll see on his face, he's like, well, why are you being so crazy? I don't understand. This isn't
It's
the
not a
end of
big
the world.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And I realized, oh, that's a bit controlling.
Yeah. I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah, me too.
It's
It's really
hard.
hard.
And because so I'm trying to be very careful too, how I talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when I hang out with Bailey and Casey,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's hard because I have a million questions. I want to know what day, what time, where we're going,
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing. Are we driving together? Are we driving separately? Are we meeting at the
Yeah.
place? Are we meeting at someone's house? And but I don't want to ask all those questions at the same time.
Oh, I'm the same way.
But then when they don't respond right away, or they're like, well, what do you want to do? Or if there's no straight answer, it makes me livid and just
Oh my God,
pick
I
an
know.
answer.
That's why I try, I've learned to not ask people more than one question at a time, because I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that they don't answer them all.
Yeah, exactly. You can't put it all in one text.
No, they only answer the last question.
Yeah.
It's happened so many times, and it makes me so mad. I'm like, do you not read the text? Do you not read the whole thing? Just
Apparently people don't. And
yeah,
it's so
it makes
frustrating.
me so mad. I'm like, I shouldn't be this mad.
Yeah, because it's so stupid. It's so trivial,
Mm-hmm.
It's not anything to be worth or
Yeah.
be mad about. But I think I also want to know right away so I can put it in my planner.
Oh yeah. If
So,
I hate having half plans made. I know we're
incomplete.
going, yeah, I know we're going somewhere, but I don't know what time. And I hate
Uh-huh.
writing oh, we're doing this at blank. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I need a time. I need to put a time in there.
Yeah. And that's especially hard because so the Google Calendar in my I think it's the simplified, or one of the planners I had was time based. I think it's a simplified one.
Mm-hmm.
Um And so when someone doesn't give me the time, I like freak out because I'm like,
don't
well,
know where
how
to
the
put
hell do I
it.
put this in my planner?
Yes. That's why I've never gotten the planners that have the times on them because I'm so afraid of that happening.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah,
Like I
'cause I
have
know
to put it as all day.
yeah, because I know other people aren't as like anal as we
Yeah.
are. Especially like Fabian's the complete opposite of me basically with this kind of stuff. So I've had to force myself to learn to not be so crazy about
Uh-huh.
these things, especially when it comes to things that we're doing together.
Yeah.
He is very much the type of person where, like, obviously he's okay with plans changing and he doesn't try too hard to make things fit in a certain like time frame or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like he does like having set specific times, but it also kind of depends on what it is too.
Yeah. There's like not,
Mhm.
he doesn't need to be super structured.
Yeah, and he doesn't need to know like right away. I need to know right away.
Mm-hmm.
But he can wait until like day before or day of
Oh,
and
that
be
makes me
like,
so mad.
I know, and I think I've been better about not asking right away because he'll be like, hey, like just recently he was like, hey, we're gonna go hiking on Sunday with so and so, and in my head I want to be like, okay, what time? Who's going? Where are we going? Like, how are we getting there? Are we carpooling? Like,
Yeah.
I want to ask all those questions, but now I've learned to just like be like, okay, like you're gonna handle this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find out like maybe the day before I'll start asking these questions.
I know that's the same for Brandon because we try to like schedule something like Joanne tried to schedule a dinner and then I'll just be like, okay, well, Joanne asked me, what's a great time for dinner? And then like I'll wait a couple days and like, oh, don't forget, we're gonna have dinner. And then we'll find out like and then I have to like be really on him too because it's like, okay, the moment you say yes, that means we have to go and this is how, when, where we're going.
Oh man, we're so crazy.
I don't know, I live a pretty happy life though.
Right? It makes me really happy when things are automatically set that way.
Mm-hmm.
You just know when everything is and what's
Yeah,
going on.
like I definitely do want to change that aspect though because like even today because we were supposed to start at 1 o'clock but then
Mm-hmm.
Brandon wanted to go get lunch and I was like, oh, okay, because he said he was coming home early but then
Mm-hmm.
he got stuck in traffic and so luckily like you were going to be late too so like okay,
Yeah.
1:30 and then 1:30 was like approaching and then I started freaking out and
Oh, you're
then
so anxious.
yeah, and then I finally got our food, and then Brandon's like, "Oh, I wanted to stop by Bevmo," and in my head I was like, "No, we have to go home," but externally I'm like, "Okay." Like
your
I'm
your
trying.
ability to hide your emotion right there.
Yeah, I was trying to be like calm and collective, because like because I know Brandon too, and like in his head, if I were to say something, he would probably be like, well, it's not the end of the world if you don't meet up at exactly 1:30.
Yeah.
Like if you don't start the podcast at exactly 1:30, like
Yeah.
nothing's going to go wrong. There's no impact to your life whatsoever. But in my head, I was like, that's the time we said.
It is nice to hear that from another person though, because like I'll forget that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's just me being me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it really isn't the end of the world. It's not going to change much.
Yeah. Like I feel like our husbands kind of bring us back down to earth, like we're
Yeah.
flying a little too far away and they just like, slowly bring us back down.
Yep.
So, because don't they have similar, what's Fabian again?
I don't remember. I
theirs
didn't
was
look
pretty
into it
similar.
too much because he's not really into it. And so he's like super weird about it. But I don't remember off the top of my head what it is.
Okay.
Funny thing is though, I was looking up like compatibilities He's on the list that is really not compatible with INTJs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so
That's
funny.
funny.
Which I can kind of understand because we are so opposite in a lot of ways. And I could see like why that would be. But at the same time, it's also kind of beneficial because a lot of the traits that are like considered INTJ that I don't like about myself, he kind of helps me get out of it and kind of change it a little bit.
Yeah.
As much as you can be changed.
That makes me kind of curious then about Brandon's personality because it is pretty different from mine, like when I was reading it. But it's kind of the same thing, like what you're saying, that they kind of help you with those certain traits that you don't like. Like Brandon definitely throughout the years have helped me like understand people's emotions and why they feel a certain way and how you should react to it.
Yeah.
Like the proper way to react to it. So that like really helps. But I think they are pretty similar, which makes sense. Actually.
What is Brandon again?
I think he's like the ISTP or IS.
I think Fabian actually is along those lines.
Oh yeah, so Brandon's an ISTP-T. So
I know
he's
they're
the
not
turbulent.
Exactly the same, but I think they're only off by like one letter because I think he's like ISFP or something like that.
Oh yeah, because the TP, those are more of like the thinking, and then isn't the FP more like feeling or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember.
That makes sense. But the true like pairs for INTJ is ENFP or ENTP. And I found out that Erica is actually an ENFP.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. So that makes total and complete sense because
So what is it? An EN what?
Fast. ENFP.
ENFP or
TP.
Or TP?
Yeah.
ENFP. ENTP. Isn't that what Joanne is?
No, she's an ENFJ.
Oh, J. Oh, P.
Yeah.
Okay. P is prospecting. Okay. Huh. That makes me kind of curious then. I want Bailey and Casey to do theirs.
I know. I can't wait to find out what theirs is. Yeah. It definitely starts with an E. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, Bailey might be. She'll probably still be an E.
She'll be an E.
Do you have your like percentages?
Yeah. So this kind of... So for the introvert part, I'm 96%.
That's not surprising. Mine is 88%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Introverted. Yeah, which I can agree with.
Yeah, because I can spend a lot of time by myself. And I get very tired very fast around people. Like,
I do too, but I feel like I do have a slightly more tolerance or higher tolerance than
I think so too. Because like we were video chatting with my nephew, with Joseph, and we didn't video chat for that long. I think maybe an hour actually. And right after that, I was exhausted. Like I wanted to take a nap.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something about like even these like interviews are very exhausting. That's why sometimes it takes me a long time to edit them. Because like when I do a solo one, like it's easy. I do it, edit it, and then I post it. Yeah. But these other ones, like it takes me a while. Like I have to like step away from it, take a break, and then just listening to it is like a social activity.
I totally feel that. Let's see. I think for the next trait is energy. So that's the second letter, so the N or the, what is it? What's opposite N?
Wait, what?
S. N or S, right?
I think so. I don't know. There's like, I don't know what all of them are. Yeah.
But I'm 62% intuitive, 38% observant.
I got, is this mine? Yeah. I got 62% for intuitive. Is that what you said?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I got.
Yeah. So thinking and judging, it's kind of fairly in the middle though. It's at 58% for both of those. And like assertive is 51%. But to be honest, like in real life, I'm pretty assertive. So I don't know. But granted, I did take this quiz at like 2 in the morning. So I may not like fully understood what I read.
Yeah. I think mine is no doubt. I'm 78% turbulent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's where I get that T from,
Yeah.
which I'm not surprised at all about. And then for like judging and prospecting, so this trait reflects our approach to work, planning, and decision making. I'm 64% judging, 36% prospecting. By the way, judging does not mean judgmental.
Yeah. Let's make that
when I was
clear.
reading this, I was like, man, I don't think I was that judgmental.
Yeah. I know, I had to read that too. But yeah, it doesn't mean judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nature, this trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions. So that's where the T comes from, like our emotional standpoint.
Oh,
And
thinking.
mine's 64% thinking, which makes sense. 36% feeling. So feeling would be like the emotional part. Thinking is like the logical part.
Mm-hmm.
So I do tend to I notice that I try to put logic first over my emotions. And it's really hard because I always have this like big internal conflict with certain situations where like I want something because I want it, but I know logically I shouldn't have it. And so I'm like constantly fighting. And I'm like, oh, but maybe I should just have it because I want it. But then I'm like, logically, that doesn't make sense. So I can't. And so I'm fighting with myself. And most of the time I'll pick like the more logical route.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it comes to like money.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. When I want to buy something and I'm like, oh, I really, really want this. But then I'm always like, do I need it? No, I don't need it. So I probably shouldn't get it. And I like do this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for sometimes it'll last for like days. It's really bad. And then finally, in the end, I almost always choose not to buy it because I'm like, logically, I shouldn't be spending money on that.
Yeah. I have like a whole slew of stuff that I want to buy. And it's like just a list that I have, and I will visit it every once in a while, but I never buy anything.
I know. I have a list that's been going forever. I have like vinyls that I've been wanting to buy since like 2014 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just never did because I feel so guilty about spending money on something like that.
Yeah. And I feel like there's also a cultural aspect to it too, because I mean, I guess you can argue that it's still thinking, but there's times where I think, well, it's not logical, but then it would make someone happy to do it. But then I was thinking, but that's a logical thing to do because in the long run, it would be better for your relationship.
Yeah.
Make life easier and better.
Yeah.
So it's still a logical thing. But I don't know. It's difficult.
I've been there so many times.
Okay. You want to go to another one?
Oh, yeah.
Bullet point. Let's see. So we kind of already went over the you think with your head, not with your heart one.
Yeah.
You keep it real. So lies and small talk are not your thing. You appreciate truth and authenticity. You're deep, reflective, and highly intelligent. And you only ask for others to reciprocate the honesty you give them. I mean, I hope that's true for everyone, that they don't like to lie.
That's true.
I am a really bad liar.
I am too. I cannot do it.
Yeah.
I feel immediately guilty. Like I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. I don't know how.
When we play this one game that almost like kind of requires you to lie, it's a card game. And I'm surprisingly really good at it. Peyton gets so mad because he's always like, you can't lie. You tell me all the time you don't know how to lie and you can't lie. But then in this game, I lie constantly and I win a lot because I do. And for some reason in this game, I can do it really well, but in real life, I don't even try.
I guess that makes sense because you're essentially playing a character, right?
True. You are two characters.
Oh, really? What game is this?
It's called Coup. It's a card game. It's really great. I'll have to bring it next time or something and play. Everyone loves it every time we bring it somewhere. But you start out as like two characters, and you're basically trying to kill off everyone's characters. And each character has a specific what's it called? Effect, basically. And you can lie about who you are. And so you can kind of take on other characters' effects and use those to your advantage.
Okay. Yeah, I want to play that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so much fun.
Anyways. Yeah. Okay, so this next one, I don't know. It says you know what you want. But I'm a pretty indecisive person.
I am too. I've seen that a lot in like the INTJ articles.
I guess it depends on what it is.
Yeah. There are times where I'm like, yeah, I know what I want to do. Like in terms of planning things. Mm-hmm. Usually, like as soon as we have something set, we know that's what we want. But yeah, I can be very indecisive.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I feel like I can be both, like extremely decisive and extremely indecisive, because when it comes to for like gifts, for example, like I know exactly what I want, like the color and like the type and stuff, because I don't really like when people buy me gifts, because a lot of times they don't know what I want.
It makes me it makes me seem really ungrateful. And I feel like I'm being ungrateful, but I'm the same way. Like, I think it's just us being particular.
Yeah. And I guess that goes hand in hand with the, you know what you want.
Yeah, I guess, because I am a very, very, I think we talked about this last time. About how particular I am. Yeah. And you can be pretty particular too.
Because people know my favorite color is like fuchsia.
But it has to be specific.
It's a specific shade of fuchsia. Yeah. It can't have too many red hues, but you can't have too many like purple hue. Like, it's a specific shade. And then like when it comes to clothes, like people know I kind of like neutral and like earth tones, but it's like specific, like.
This is why I hate when people ask me what my favorite color is. Yeah. Because I can't answer that question. It depends on what it is. Yeah. Because I am so particular, and it has to be specific shades for specific things.
Yeah, exactly. It's specific to what it is. Like my favorite color is fuchsia. Yeah, sure. But I don't ever wear it. I would never wear fuchsia. It's too loud. It's too bright, Yeah. But I love fuchsia things, like a water bottle or like.
Yeah, whenever people ask me that question, I end up just saying blue. But that's kind of a lie. Like I really love like a specific type of blue. Like it has to be like that watery, like aqua kind of tealish blue. But it's not those. But then at the same time, I wouldn't ever wear that. Yeah. And it's like certain things I like in that color. Yeah. And I'm the same way with clothes. Like usually it's neutral tones, and I love burgundy, but it's a specific type of burgundy. Like sometimes burgundy is too purple and sometimes it's too bright.
Yeah. It's got to be like crimson, like blood-like.
Yeah. that deep, like deep red, I guess.
Because sometimes it looks like red wine, but I don't like red wine because it's too purple.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I get you.
This conversation is probably so boring to other people.
Well, it might be fascinating to like INTJs, because then they're probably like, yes, that's exactly how I feel.
This is why we have such a hard time with other people.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if like other people find this interesting, or maybe if I'll get like INTJ listeners
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. Uh,
All right, what's the next thing?
You're self-confident.
It depends on if you're an A or a T.
Well, it says, you know that when you're right, you're really right. And that's that. Which we kind of talked about earlier.
Yeah, I can be that way.
Because I am pretty, like that's, I am like a self-conscious person, and I did, I don't want to say suffered from low self-esteem, but I guess like that's kind of, I don't know how else to say that, but I do, I did have to work on that. And that's like but what I am very confident about is my intelligence. And I tell people that I'm not trying to be like narcissistic or anything like that, but I hate when people tell me how to do things or how I should do things or whatever, because I am smart. Like, I'm not stupid. And I don't like when people think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But other than that, like everything else, I know I have a bunch of flaws, but that one aspect of me, I do, like, I am proud of.
Yeah, sometimes, I don't know, it kind of, for me, like I can feel that way sometimes, but then like, I remember in high school, I never, even though I was in like the higher level classes, I was always taking AP, honors, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, oh my God, Leia, you're so smart. But then to me, I didn't really have confidence in my intelligence, even though technically on paper, yes, you can call me smart. But like being around like that group of people, I felt like I was on the lower end of the smart people. Like I always felt so inadequate next to my friends who were like scoring 100% on all their tests. And then there's me, like I feel like I had to struggle, and I was just constantly asking them questions. Like, I don't know, it felt like such a struggle to me. But then I look at other people and it's just a breeze for them. And that always kind of hurt my self-confidence a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
but I think as I get older, it gets a little bit better.
Yeah. And like, I don't really think of, so I guess that's why I think I'm intelligent, is that I don't think of book smarts as necessarily as intelligent, because like, because there's more to life than that. Like, if we abolished schools in general, like what really makes you intelligent is not knowing like when we signed the like Declaration of Independence. What makes you intelligent is like your ability to assess a situation. And now I have a brain fart.
Like analyze a situation
and come up with like a solution.
It's critical thinking.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. That's why I like Portal or like puzzle games.
Oh my God, yeah.
There's a lot of critical thinking.
I do love puzzles.
Like I really love game shows. Like the Game Show Network. I used to love watching that with my dad when I was little.
I love and hate them. Like I really like them, but then I get so irritated with the contestants sometimes. Because I'm like, just do it this way.
I love the ones where you can play with them, and then like we spent like last night watching Jeopardy because it's on Hulu.
Oh my God, I love Jeopardy.
I know. And like you get to learn at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember I was at our friend Courtney's house, and I think Erica was there and maybe a couple other people. And for some reason, we were all like drinking and stuff. And for some reason, I had the urge, or we put on Jeopardy. I don't know why. We put on Jeopardy, and I specifically looked up Jeopardy on like anatomy and stuff. And I never felt so smart in my life because I was getting all these Jeopardy questions right. Because I just love anatomy and whatnot. And it's just so funny watching like their faces. They're like, how do you know all these? And I'm like, well, I did just take a class on it. So
yeah. I know there's this one, it was like medical acronyms. And then one of the ladies was, she was a practitioner. And there was one that she didn't get, but I got, and I was like, you're calling yourself a doctor? How did you miss this one?
Oh my God. Oh, that's embarrassing.
It is. I was like, ooh, you should have done that. Now all your patients are like questioning you.
Oh God.
Okay, so the next one is you're open-minded, which I feel like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, we did talk about that one.
But it says like, despite your high self-confidence, you're receptive to ideas and opinions outside your own. Because you're so rational, you consider all possibilities with an open mind. And yeah, which is true. I mean, we talked about that earlier, that even though we think what we do is more efficient and it's better and we're very confident in it, we're confident in it because we validated it. It's validated, it's confirmed, it's, we tested it out.
We know it works.
Yeah. And so
if there's a better way to do something, then yeah,
exactly. Like I'm always open to improvement. And like at work, we actually, it's if anyone's in IT or project management, there's like the area of process improvement. And so I'm always up and like ready for more process improvement. I love that aspect of like project management. And I think it's like so important. Like it's such an important area of work in general.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I've done that a lot with my job too. Like with the training at the salon, I put together like a whole training packet because I thought it would be more efficient to help train people. And so I like did all this extra stuff because I wanted it to be easier and quicker and just more comprehensive, I guess.
I did the exact same thing at work too, because we have a new person. And so when I started work this January, we didn't have any training materials. There was no job aids. There was no to-do list. Like there was nothing. So like me and my coworker, I kind of wonder if she's an INTJ, but that's a different subject. But we both like created a checklist of exactly what you need to do, your trainings, what documents you need to sign, all that stuff. And we made job aids. And the job aids are meant for like to literally throw at anybody and anyone can do it. Like even an intern can come in and follow the step-by-step and be able to do it.
Yeah, those are so much fun to make.
Yeah. So we made like a whole, like we made all the job aids, all the checklists. And I even like planned out her training agenda, like her schedule. And then my boss was like, thanks.
Oh my God, I love the little training packet I put together.
I know, I wish I kept, because I made like, we called it the Bible, and it was in my last project, and I wish I kept it because it was a binder and it was color coded and it had the different tabs and I had them like organized by like daily, weekly, monthly, and ad hoc like task and all that stuff. It was very pretty.
Oh, that's so nice. Fun.
It's very Monica. Ooh, do you think Monica's an INTJ?
Oh, I feel like she could be. Oh, maybe she is. She's definitely got that like organization
but she's very like expressive.
Yeah, she is. I feel like she's more like way too emotional.
Yeah. I think so too. But definitely like the organizational part of her.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Friends. Such a good show.
Maybe she's like an INFJ. Or maybe an ENFJ.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So like Ate.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Do you think Joanne would ever go on the podcast? Do you think she'd want to?
I think she would.
Okay. Joanne's Leia's older sister.
Yes. I also refer to her as Ate.
Yeah. So if you're Filipino, that makes sense. Yeah. But Ate is just like, Ate means sister, but you call like your
elders.
Yeah, you call it your elders. Yeah. Whatever. It's difficult. That's just too many traditions. Okay, next one is, well, we kind of talked about this already, but you have difficulty expressing your emotions.
Oh, yeah, we had a whole thing about that already.
So let's skip that. You're a hard worker. That's true.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not lazy.
I mean, I am, but and not. Like when it comes to school and stuff, I am a
Hmm.
hard worker and like work, I feel like I am. But then at home, I'm not always. I get
Yeah.
tired, man.
Yeah, me too. But like once I get started on something, I'm like a steamboat.
Yeah, it's hard
I
to stop.
don't know if that's the
If
right word for
I
it.
feel I know what you mean though. That's a good way to put it because I feel like once I stop, it's really hard to get going again.
Yeah. Yeah, because like aren't steamboats like powered by coal?
Mm-hmm.
So like it takes a lot to get started, but once you're
Yeah,
started,
yeah, it doesn't stop.
yeah, exactly. Okay, you're independent. So you're highly self-sufficient and don't rely on anyone else.
I that's one of my biggest things actually is
Yeah.
like ever since I was a kid, I've always just wanted to be as independent as possible. I mean, I'm not always because it's really hard for anyone to be super independent, but
Hmm.
that's one of my big things that I'm like, I have to be independent. I have to make my own money. I have to, like, I always have to have a job.
Hmm.
I always have to have like a backup plan. I always have to be able to take care of myself.
Yeah, I agree. I'm exactly the same way. Like
Hmm.
I was actually talking to my mom about it, and she said that I've always been very independent, even like when I was a baby, because she was
Yeah.
saying like I started walking early, I guess. And
Uh-huh.
then like when I started preschool, I didn't want her to hold my hand. Like she told me this story like the other day. Like I didn't want her to hold my hand. I didn't want her to like basically like shadow me or anything. Like I kind of wanted to
Yeah.
do things on my own, and um, I always walked on my own, I guess, because
Yeah.
like she was always holding my brother's hand, and like when we crossed the street or something like that, and I always wanted to be on my own, and it makes sense because I left at 18. You
Hmm.
know, I got my car and I got my own job, and I did everything like pretty much on my own. Obviously, with like some help here and there, because
Yeah.
obviously before you're 18, you can't really do everything on your own.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I was pretty independent.
Yeah. I think that's pretty, as a kid, I was kind of independent. I was also very scared of a lot of things and I was very shy. So it made it hard to be independent, but I always
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be. And I never like, I think it's part of being an introvert too, is that a lot of my memories as a kid are of me being alone and just like playing by myself or something, or just doing something on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of my memories are of that.
Yeah.
I rarely think of like whenever I was with a group of people or anything like that. I feel like those kind of they can go hand in hand.
Yeah. I don't remember my childhood too much,
I
to be
never really
honest.
think about it.
Yeah. I have always wanted to be independent. And like, if anything was to happen to Brandon, if he died or whatever,
Uh-huh.
like I would probably end up just being alone. Like I probably just want to live by
Mm-hmm.
myself, like in
That's
my
what
own
I think
place.
about too. It's like if something bad were ever to happen, hopefully never. But
Hmm.
that's how I imagine my life going too. Is that it sounds really bad, but even as a kid, actually, I never really thought that I would like get married or do anything like that. I always just had it in my head that I was going to be alone
Hmm.
with animals and that's it.
Yeah, but not like in a sad way.
Yeah, it never made me sad or depressed to think
Yeah,
about it that way.
because I always hear like in movies or TV shows, like the insult is, "I hope you grow old alone," and then in my
I
head, I was like, "That's fine."
know.
Like that's not a big
Sounds
problem.
kind of nice.
Yeah, I always thought that's such a weird insult. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, and okay, so this is the last one, and I'm really glad this is the last one on the list, actually, because I think it's pretty funny because we kind of touched on it earlier.
Huh?
So, another characteristic of an INTJ is that we have dark sense of humor.
I think that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
actually, because I hear that a lot about
Hmm.
INTJs too, and I'm like, okay, I'm not that weird then.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to like be careful too, though. Because I think
Yeah.
I accidentally said a joke. I forgot what the joke was, but like it was really bad because the person just died.
Oh,
And then I accidentally said this joke and I can't remember what it was. It wasn't like bad. Like it wasn't bad against the person. Like it wasn't negative towards the person or
yeah,
anything, but it was just kind of funny. I think it's like the way the person died or something like that.
yeah.
But in my head, it was like hilarious and I had to like refrain from laughing. And I was
Oh
like,
my God.
yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, I need to watch myself.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. There are a lot of things that I know I should not say out loud. And I even like feel bad myself for thinking them. I'm like, why?
Mhm.
Why did you go there?
It's okay. It says you have a very sarcastic and dark sense of humor that not everybody can handle.
Yeah. You're definitely way worse than me when it comes to sarcasm too.
Am I?
I think so. I can
That
be
was
sarcastic.
sarcastic.
Oh my God. See, I'm so bad at detecting sarcasm too. I use it all the time, but I can't detect it. It's terrible. I'm just like, oh, what? Really?
I know. That's one of our ground rules at work. See, I feel like people in IT they're very similar to INTJ people
Mm-hmm.
in general.
Makes
But
sense
like one of our ground rules is no sarcasm.
because it offends people.
Yeah. Because we have to always be careful in the meetings not to be sarcastic because it's unprofessional
Yeah.
or whatever. I just thought that was so funny. But
We have
yeah,
to make a whole rule on it.
there's nothing wrong with sarcasm every once in a while. It's
It's a
just,
sign of intelligence.
it really is though, because some people don't get me.
What an INTJ thing to say.
Oh, it's so funny. I know. I will never forget the essay. I'm pretty sure I told you. I think I told everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But that English essay I had when
Oh,
yeah,
your professor was like too much sarcasm.
yeah. So I may have said this in the previous episode. I don't remember, but in case you guys didn't hear that story, basically in college in my English class, the teacher or the professor asked us to write an essay in our own persona, so like our own personal persona, like who we are. She asked us to write in our own voice, okay? And I got points taken off because it was too sarcastic.
Oh my God.
I think I kept that paper. I have to look for it somewhere.
That's so insulting. You got points taken off for the person you are.
Yeah. I mean, I still got an A, but
Yeah.
still, I probably could have gotten 100.
Oh, that makes me so mad.
Yeah. I was like, are you serious? I didn't fight it at the time. But
Yeah.
I was like livid. I like told all my friends, I was like, do you see this crap right here? Why am I even in college?
Oh, that's so sad.
It is. I was like, don't tell me to talk in my own voice and then knock me down for it.
Yeah.
I need to read that paper because when I wrote it, I don't remember it being sarcastic.
Probably because it's your own voice.
Yeah. It's funny because in high school, do you remember Mr. What's his? Oh, Webster, dictionary.
I love him.
Yeah, so I had to write a letter or I had to write an essay, and the essay was because I had my phone out. And so as punishment, he told me to write an essay about why I shouldn't have my phone out during testing, because I think it was like during STAR testing or something like that. And then the reason why I had my phone out is because I finished before everybody and I was bored. So I was on my phone. However, is his name Sean? I don't remember his name, but he was like one of the soccer players. You know, Mr. Webster's like really into soccer.
Yeah.
So he had his phone out too. So in my essay, but he didn't get asked to write an essay. Like, I don't know if he got caught or not. But in my essays, I think I wrote something along the lines with, it's really funny that I have to write this essay considering the other soccer player within the class also had his phone out. However, he wasn't asked to write an essay. But that's okay because I'll still write this essay anyways because I'm a good student. And he loved it. He ate it up. He like laughed when he read it. And he said, this is a really good essay. You're a good writer.
Oh my God. I love him so much. He was such a great. It's funny because I was just about to bring up an essay that I had to write for him too. And he told us to write it in the voice of this character. I can't for the life of me think of what the book is. It's a really famous book. And the main character is very sarcastic. And I remember, because I hate English, I hate writing, always have hated it. But that, I think, is the best thing I've ever written in my life, because it was just writing in this character's voice who's extremely sarcastic. And I got to be like, so it's like, it does sound kind of unprofessional, and you kind of get to write it. I felt like I was writing it just the way I was. And it was just my thoughts, and they weren't like, it wasn't bad to be writing the way I wanted to write.
Yeah.
And it was just so easy. It was the easiest thing I'd ever written. I'm pretty sure I got an A on it. And I even read it just like a couple of years ago or something. I found it on my computer and I read it, and I was like, wow, this is actually a really good essay. And I've never felt that way about any of my writing.
Dang. That makes me want to go look for that essay if I still have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this is like before cloud, like the cloud stuff, So it's all like hard copies, and I don't know if I kept all of them.
Yeah.
Man, if only we had technology back then. I mean, we did, but I don't know what happened to it. Yeah, not like now. But oh well. Anyways, that is the list. That is like, I did find another one, but it's pretty much just the same thing. Yeah. But the one thing I forgot that I wanted to point out, but I guess INTJs are also known for their resting bitch faces. Oh man, if you guys only knew.
I feel like I don't really have one, but then I have had instances where people have told me that I look scary or mean or unapproachable. But then at the same time, people do approach me all the time. So
yeah, I've gotten people tell me I'm intimidating. And honestly, that makes me feel really good.
Yeah, I don't think that's really a bad thing.
Yeah, like I'm like, yeah, fear me. Just kidding.
Even though you're not fearful at all.
No, I'm a little weakling. I can't punch you or anything. Like I'll probably grab a pen and stab you or something. But
oh my God.
I have no upper body strength. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought that was funny because that kind of goes back to earlier when we were saying how people always ask us if we're okay.
Yeah. That's true. So maybe it's not like resting bitch face. Well, I think for me, it's like resting worried face or something like that. Or sad face. Like I always look like I'm worried or sad, which I am worried all the time. So
yeah, so that makes sense.
That's part of the turbulence in me.
Yeah. I always look angry. Which
it's just you being assertive.
Yeah. Because I don't think I'm not always angry. I used to be a very angry person. Like I used to think that I should probably go through anger management, but I think I grew out of that. Yeah. Exactly. But I think I grew out of that. I'm not as angry as I used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is the INTJ, how to spot us, I guess, in public.
Which most of them were pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think so too. Some of them, like, I feel like can go either way, and some of them I feel like there's definitely a cultural aspect to who we are too.
Yeah.
Being a Filipino plays a lot in my decision making and it's like just engraved into you, you know, like I was just telling Joanne that my mom is still in my head a lot of times, even though I'm like almost 30,
Yeah.
and I just can't help it.
Oh yeah. Me too. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah. I mean, everyone, even though you have like similar personality types, you may test the same as one person, but doesn't mean you're exactly the same. You're going to be different in so many other ways still
Yeah, exactly.
because of how you grew up and whatnot.
Yeah. But it is pretty eerie, like how accurate this
Yeah.
is.
It's nice
Like,
to know kind of why you think a certain way.
yeah. I think it helps also validate like parts of us, you know, like we
Yeah.
aren't weird I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you could say we're weird because we're such a small
Yeah.
percentage.
I definitely feel like better about who I am, I guess,
Yeah.
because I don't know. It's just nice to know that there are people that do these weird things or think a certain similar way as me.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, it's been so hard to find other people that are like that.
Yeah.
Question myself all the time, like, why am I like this?
Yeah. That's like the beauty of YouTube, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Because then you can just search up your specific like Myers Briggs personality, and
Yeah.
you'll find like all kinds of resources and people who are just like you, even if it's like a small percentage. And that one chick, I forgot her name, the one with like purple hair, or
Oh, Lejo,
yeah, like
or
she's a
Lijo.
pretty popular YouTuber too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like her videos a lot when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to the INTJ stuff. That's mostly what she does other stuff, but I love watching like her INTJ videos because it really like I don't know, I just get it.
Mm-hmm. And I like how she talks because, like, you know, I do the customer service voice a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
she talks pretty similar to how I talk in real life. It's very
Yeah,
calm,
yeah.
monotone.
I think that's why I like listening to her too, because I love
Mm-hmm.
the way she talks.
I know
And I've
Bailey
always
said that my voice is
liked,
soothing because
yeah,
of.
I do. I actually do like. I've always liked that you were kind of monotone.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I
No
just
one
really,
has ever said that to me.
I always have. I don't know why.
Oh, I didn't know
It is
that.
calming. So,
Yeah, because I don't think I ever talked about this because I did talk about my monotone voice earlier, but
mhm,
it's hard for people to read me. And so, like, I
mhm.
had that incident with my coworker um, when she called me and she kept asking, like, is it a good time for you? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's fine. Like, and she kept asking, and then I said and then that's when I mentioned to her, I was like, it's okay, like I know that I have a monotone voice and it's hard for people to read me. And she's like, oh good, I wasn't gonna say that, but I did it. She's like, yeah, I don't know what you're feeling right now. And I said, well, right now I'm pretty indifferent, so
I know.
like I'm not in a meeting, so you're talking to me now. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I feel like we're just content.
Hmm.
Like
Like I
that's all
feel
it is.
like what.
Like that's all it is. It's not anything crazy. Like you're not super happy, you're not sad or mad, you're just like content.
Hmm. That's why I feel like if I do talk like that around you, like that's a good thing. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like when I
You're
do
comfortable.
have, yeah, exactly. Because when I am super expressive, and I mean, a lot of the times, like with Bailey and Casey, I do become a little more expressive around them because I do
Yeah.
have like a really good time with them. But
Yeah.
like if it's just like one on one talking, like just us, you know, intimate talking, and I do have that monotone voice, it's just because I'm becoming more and more comfortable with you.
Comfortable. Yeah.
Whereas it's like if I'm super expressive, what I'm really doing, especially if I don't really know you, I'm like mimicking your
Yeah.
reactions because that's what I think is like appropriate in that
Yeah.
situation.
I've learned that that's called masking.
Oh, there's a word for it. There's a word for
Yeah.
everything.
Which I've always felt like I've done that and then I just recently found out what that is.
That's
And so now I
interesting.
feel less like a sociopath because I realize I'm just masking.
Oh, I need to look that up. That's an INTJ thing.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that was like a thing, but I guess that
Mhm.
makes sense. I'm sure a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for getting on here. I feel like we talked for a super long time, but honestly, I love this whole thing. I remember taking it in high school, but I don't remember what I got. I wish I knew what I got.
Yeah,
And
I think
so,
I'm pretty sure I tested as like an INFJ in high school,
mhm,
which makes sense because I feel like I teeter on the F and T, like the
yeah,
feeling and the thinking.
yeah,
Because even now, my percentage for the thinking isn't super high.
yeah.
It's just more than feeling. So,
I also think like because our brains aren't fully developed yet either,
hmm
like I feel like what you scored back then may be similar to what you would get now, but it's not like 100% reflective of
yeah,
who you really are,
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, because because in high school, like I wanted people to like me and I wanted friends and
Mhm.
stuff. And it wasn't until later that I realized that all of that's just so exhausting and I don't actually want it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because who doesn't really want to be like liked, I guess.
Yeah. Well, because that's like what gets like fed to you, you know, like every
Mm,
movie, every TV show, like that's what people want is to
yeah.
be liked and loved by many. Whereas, like in reality, I'm okay being liked by maybe a couple. Like
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
you know, like I was
Exactly.
so worried in high school, like if people hated me.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like,
Same
I
way.
don't care. That's too bad for you because I'm a pretty awesome person. Just kidding. Um,
That's your A right now.
it really is though, huh? Because I'm a fun person. I
No, you are.
am.
I mean, I still hang out with you.
Thanks.
Been how many years now?
Huh?
It's been how many years now?
I moved in with you guys in 2010,
Okay.
so 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
You still deal with me, so it's fine.
Yep. I volunteered to come on this podcast.
Yeah, no one forced you.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. I think we should do more like INTJ. Like we can have like an INTJ segment.
There are so many things to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, that one chick has a whole YouTube channel about it, so there's
I know.
clearly a lot to talk about about
Too
INTJs.
much. I know there are so many other things that I kind of wanted to talk about today, but this has gone on way too long to bring up those things.
Yeah, and I'm hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, we're supposed to be going to a barbecue right now,
Oh,
so
you are? Is
yeah.
Fabian home?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you probably should like socially prepare for that.
I know. I have been all day, don't worry.
Okay, good.
I've known about it for like a few days now, so
Oh, good.
we're
Okay,
good.
that's good.
Yeah.
Uh, well, thanks. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Anytime. I'm excited for the next one already.
Me too. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed the show and want to stay in the know, please follow me on social media. I am on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also check out my website at thetalkativeintrovertpodcast.com. All the information will be on there as well as in the description. If you like the show, or even if you don't, please consider rating and reviewing me on Apple Podcasts. If you leave a review, I'll make sure to feature it in a future episode. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode.